Welcome to the Red Couch, and today on the Red Couch I have two very special guests. We're going to be talking about something that's going to be very beneficial to you or someone close to you at some point in your life, if not now, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but at some point in your life it could become important. So let me welcome Dr. Philip Gaskin. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you very much.
And my fellow Rotarian and the lady from Jamaica, Simone Pasmore.
Thank you, Vic.
So Simone, we are here to talk about something called
CareStylze.
As in hairstyles, but CareStylze.
You got it.
All right. So not to be flippant, this is an idea, and Simone's been telling me about this for some time. CareStylze is basically a concept that has been developed, which will allow you to have access either to equipment or services that you may need, and at a price that hopefully will be affordable. And we're hoping to launch this in such a way that people can contribute to it and kind of almost pay forward some of your possible needs in the future. Is that a reasonable starting point?
I would say that's an excellent starting point, Vic.
Excellent starting point. I like excellent starting points. So Simone, tell us a little bit about CareStylze, and where was this idea born, first of all?
Well, actually, it was born when my mom was not well in Jamaica, and I had to choose some nursing care from a bulletin board at the hospital. These nurses, of course, came with no reviews, no history, and they were coming into our homes. Essentially, CareStylze is a marketplace that helps to facilitate the booking of nurses. It helps to facilitate finding medical equipment, transportation, all these elements. There was a time during the transition, which is a story I share about CareStylze, when my mom was in the hospital, the nurses gave her her lunch, and when I came back, she had fallen asleep without her oxygen mask. Luckily, it was only temporarily, but she lost complete vision and she was actually unable to communicate with me. I had been in the pharmacy for 4 hours waiting on the medication, which is why, it was quite a prolonged period, but I was the only person there, so I had to be taking care of all the different responsibilities, paying bills, finding ways to transport whatever I needed, going to the pharmacy, and being by her side. And I figured there had to be a better way for families to get over these periods in a more holistic form.
Philip, in your profession, of course what she's talking about is something that you may be much more familiar with on a daily basis, because people come to you not when they're well, but when they want to get well.
Just to follow on from that point, definitely what Simone says is what you said there is what I live on a daily basis, because I might be dealing with the patient, but the families in the background, they're very anxious, they don't know where to turn. And so often in life we live in this kind of polarized society where you don't have your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and that support anymore. But you definitely, everything falls usually to just that one person, that one family member, and they don't know where to turn. When we get sick, definitely, we even get more polarized, because it's almost like you don't want to tell people, oh, well, so-and-so is not feeling well, and so on. So that's why when Simone came to us with the idea, I was like, this is great. This is something that's really good, because what it's going to allow somebody in the palm of their hand and to utilize something. Some people have 2 cell phones or whatever, that they're going to be able to access services, and that it is going to be kind of proofed. So it's not to say that that person that's looking after your mom is, she has some bad reviews. It's like, this is somebody who has 5-star reviews, and they'll be able to look after my mom properly.
Simone, you mentioned the equipment, and tell me a little bit about that side of it.
Right, so during my mom's illness, I was trying to find an oxygen converter, and in Jamaica at the Carib Rehab of Jamaica, there were none available at the time. So eventually we found a friend of a friend who had a doctor that was renting them personally. We recognize that so often persons have these things either just thrown around at home from a previous experience not being utilized, where they can be uploaded, whether new or used, that the demographic can take advantage of that. Because what I believe is that people will be able to support us in a number of ways, whether that's financially, donating old equipment, whether that's, really just trying to advocate for
working equipment.
Old working equipment.
Not usable and not useless.
Yeah, that's quite critical. In some cases, we'll have to get them recertified depending on the type of equipment that it is, because obviously we don't want we want to make sure that we have uphold a standard that is exemplary. But yeah, to answer your question, we are looking for support in every single way. We really believe that this is going to drive and transform change. We're going to standardize care, hopefully, so that essentially nurses, practitioners, they will follow a standard. They have to enter the patient stats a few times a day. So we have to administer the medication in a certain way, and persons who fall off from this way line will be accountable. First of all, they're vetted before they're uploaded to the system, and then secondly, there's a continuous review system that helps us to really monitor that patients are getting the level of care that they should. So one of the things that we've incorporated into the campaign is that, let's say, for instance, you're going to donate to the campaign, whether that's $100 or $5,000, you're getting that back in care hours.
Explain in a little more detail, what are care hours?
So care hours are essentially hours that can be used towards your care, whether that is towards a practitioner, whether it's towards a nurse, maybe it's towards equipment, but essentially you'll be able to break that down. Sometimes you may need advanced care, and sometimes there's basic care. Basic care, in the event that you're taking care of your loved one at home and you just need somebody to come and literally babysit. Someone who has a little bit of knowledge but not necessarily a full-fledged nurse. That would be considered basic care. But then we have advanced care where somebody may be on oxygen and require more medical services. So then that would be tiered on the advanced care. But again, it can be utilized. The care hours is, what we consider our loyalty rewards that essentially you can use, but also to utilize for friends, family, or someone who is in need, as I said, a charity.
And if I could just interject there, because when Simone came with this whole concept of crowdfunding and so on, I had to go away and do some research, and then I came back to her and we bounced things back and forth. Because what it really becomes is that you have a product. I believe in this. I think this is going to work. I think this could be beneficial to not just myself, but Barbados in general and so on. I'm going to make a contribution to it, and in return, when this comes to fruition, I'm going to have access to care hours where I could either use it for myself or a loved one, or as Simone said, if I'm on these big charitable trusts or whatever, I can then say, okay, you can use your care hours at this home or this kindergarten, wherever you want to use it. So that was my understanding of it.
So let's talk a little bit about the mechanics of it. When do you hope to launch this? And operationally, explain to the audience how this idea of the donations and so on.
So it has two components. We are hoping to launch the campaign to raise funds to develop the app within the next week or so, so that persons can contribute to the development of that. That's going to include the development of the app, the marketing, the initial operational costs, and what's critical, which you alluded to earlier, is the security of the app. So ensuring that we are HIPAA compliant, PHI compliant, PCI compliant, because obviously it's a medical records portal, so we have to ensure that all the encryption happens and that there's no vulnerabilities. The second component, once the campaign is launched, that should run for 60 days to completion. We're hoping to raise $1 million, and then we'll start the development, which would essentially, full development. We have some prototypes, but that would take us about 8 months to a soft launch, which will run 2 months, and then we'll go to a public launch.
Well, what about the professionals that you need to come on board?
Actually, we when in our initial phase, we did engage some of the nurses, and what we recognize that they want this. They want this more than ever. One of the reasons, sometimes nurses will be taking care of a patient, and then that patient dies. Then they have to wait, months or a long period of time before they're placed in another opportunity. So this will essentially help them to give a platform where they're getting more work more frequently. So that's one component. Also the component of them being able to monitor the patients and see graphically if something is wrong. You can't go back in an exercise book, 2 months to see what the changes are, the fluctuations. So this really, from what we've seen from the few focus groups that we've had, a positive engagement from the nurse practitioners, and we're really excited to be working with them because they're providing a valuable service, you know. So we want to be able to promote their services in a very in the best way that we can.
Because it kind of gives them a marketplace that they
Yeah.
can actually, you know, show that their profession, I'm available, I'm out there. You know, it's not advertising on hit or miss Facebook or Instagram or something like that. It will actually be focused. Some people need 24-hour care. And so you need to have a rotation of nurses looking after them. And like sometimes you want them to all come from the same pool, because sometimes with patients, you don't want a different nurse or a different physio coming every single time. So consistency is very important in terms of care as well. And you want to know that that person, as Simone said, that you're bringing to your house is safe.
This is a fabulous project, and I certainly want to wish you great success. Let me state categorically that we at Capital Media, we're not the biggest, but we certainly think we're the best. And we will certainly be on board on something like this because it's for the public good. We're stating publicly that Capital Media is on board with it.
Thank you so much, Vic. That means a lot to us. And just wanted to invite everyone as well that you could check out CareStylze.com to find out more information, how you can support the initiative, how you can get back your care hours. And even if you can't support, again, monetarily, there's a number of ways you can support: donating equipment. You can just share the word. So maybe ask your employers if they're willing to get some care hours, and that can be used for the employees as well. So we just want to find a way that we're really making it make sense for everyone, so that this can be a real community effort and really help us as a region be more proactive and have access to our own healthcare, have access so that we can take care of our loved ones in a more humanistic way, and give us a little bit of freedom during that process, because it's already a very, very traumatic process. Take it from me, it was not an easy road, but hopefully we can make it easier for those coming after.
There's not much that I could add to that. So on that note, Philip and Simone, I want to thank you both for being my guests here on the Red Couch today. This is a unique Red Couch, but one that I think will resonate with a lot of people, and I will hope that it's hugely successful, because we never know the moment, the time, the hour when we ourselves are going to have that need. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Vic.
I wish you great success.
Thank you, Vic.
What again is the website to go to?
CareStylze.com.
The CareStylze.com. Check it out. You never know when you or someone close to you may need it. For Capital Media HD, I thank my guests for being here on the Red Couch.
Thank you.